Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Northwest School has unveiled its $20 million revamp just in time for the first bell of the year. There was anticipation and excitement for public students across the state as schools open the doors for a new year of learning.
Bright-eyed and ready to jump back in, more than 60,000 Tasmanian students crossing into their next year of state school.
It's fair to say we were pretty relieved to see them back into school today.
But at East Launceston, some were more ready than others.
I was just planning on chilling out until my mum told me I had to go to school.
At Penguin, students are settling in to their brand new digs with the finishing touches being put on a major revamp. The town's primary and secondary schools were combined 10 years ago. Today, the two campuses have officially become one.
It's really different from the old school. The old school was like all set apart, but this one's close to all the classrooms and it's only a short walk everywhere.
Bookworms will be right at home in the library, while sports fans have more space to spread out.
The basketball court, it's got like 6 hoops, which is pretty good, so no one argues anymore.
And a brand new music room provides plenty of places to practice.
There's a recording studio in there, which is amazing. I don't think I've heard of a classroom school that has that, so it's very new. I love it.
It's also the principal's first day being in charge of a kinder to year 12 school, a system she says works best for her community.
Quite often students here have older siblings or younger siblings, so it just, I guess a K-12 school really does create that sense of community.
It's hoped the multi-million-dollar upgrades will help young people stay in school for longer.
The very best place to learn is back face-to-face in schools.
With more than 300 COVID cases reported in the past week, the Greens are concerned at thousands of children mixing in the classroom.
They were a significant source of COVID transmission last year.
But the government says the risk of illness is the same in the broader community.
We do have ventilation for our schoolrooms, both through natural ventilation and through the use of air purifiers, fans and heaters as needed.
Hoping the measures will be enough to keep young people in class. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
The return to the classroom has been a bumpy ride for those taking the bus, with 78 services cancelled across the state. Metro says it's prioritised school routes, but has admitted staff shortages are causing disruption.
Fed up with poor passengers and a lack of support, Cara quit her job as a Metro driver.
The general lack of safety and support and feeling just like a number instead of an actual employee, it just took its toll in the end.
Today, the bus business scrapped 77 services, a hurdle for those heading back to the classroom, but the operator says it prioritised school routes.
That doesn't mean that other school kids and families aren't trying to find their way to school on the existing Metro network, and I'm sure many were impacted this morning. CEO Katie Cooper says it's not a lack of support that's forcing drivers out the door, but relocation and new career opportunities.
So Metro's currently, like I think a whole lot of industries, experiencing staff shortages. We've been recruiting quite strongly for the last number of months.
Well, we know about 20% of the workforce left last year, and they tried to recruit, but they didn't recruit as many drivers as the ones that left.
The disruptions could last as long as a fortnight. Metro is updating its Facebook page the day prior with cancelled services.
And that's to enable people to plan ahead and to ensure they can get to their destination.
With her old colleagues pushed to breaking point, Cara has a message for Metro.
Please hear, your drivers need you to stand up, and actions speak louder than words.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's top cop is encouraging the community to have its say on proposed gun reform in the state. While rolling up her sleeve for a good cause, the Commissioner has highlighted the importance of cracking down on firearms circulation and incidents.
Issuing a call to arms of a different kind.
We obviously see the direct effects of trauma on our roads and horrific crime, and sometimes those victims are in need of blood.
They really band together as a cause to make sure that those blood products are there when they're needed.
Joined by her Tasmania Police colleagues in a show of support for the annual Bleed for Blue blood drive.
Many people out there that are struggling at times, and But I'm fit and healthy so I can get in here and do these things.
With the potentially life-saving donation ticked off, Tasmania Police remain committed to protecting lives more broadly.
Firearms crime is a priority of mine and Tasmania Police. Firearms in the community where they're not managed appropriately can be involved in serious crime and also make policing unsafe.
Turning their focus to guns in the community, hoping to rein in violence through potential changes to firearms legislation.
I urge the members of the community to be aware of what we're proposing and put forward your perspectives so that we get the legislation right.
Motorbike gangs could be refused firearms and their licences cancelled, closing in on illegally manufactured guns and gel blasters, also among the lengthy list of amendments.
We know it's important that the community has confidence that our firearms ownership and usage laws are up to date, adequate, and ensure the public safety.
The public can have a say on the amendments until the consultation period ends on March 17. The proposed bill will then be brought before our politicians in Parliament later this year. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
A victim survivor of family violence who is also battling an unrelated brain injury has expressed grave fears for her living situation. Tammy Temple and her 9-year-old daughter are being forced to vacate their current property. The Tasmanian mother is being considered for rapid rehousing, but it remains unclear if she'll be housed in time.
She's managed to live independently with the support of her mum. She's rented privately at this unit for 8 years. But at the end of this month, she has nowhere to go, and she's done all of the right things.
We're not asking for a mansion, 2-bedroom unit. You know, it doesn't have to be posh or anything.
The government says it is aware of Tammy's circumstances and Homes Tasmania is working out the range of options available. The hospitality industry is awaiting the return of internationals to our shores. Recent moves could see an influx of students and migrants, which could help ease staff shortages.
When Mud Bar owner Don Cameron puts out a job advert, potential workers aren't answering the call.
It makes it really hard just for all the pubs and clubs and restaurants around the place. They are all crying out for young staff.
Migrants and international students make up nearly half the workforce here, but with borders closed, they've been tough to find.
And I think what happened many years ago from the previous federal government is they underestimated how many visa workers were in Tasmania when COVID hit. So unfortunately, we lost all those people.
Last week, the Chinese government banned online learning at overseas universities. It means students registered at UTAS will soon be flocking back to our shores.
We haven't seen them yet. One of our businesses is very close to the university, and we're really we're excited about them coming back.
The visa application backlog has also been cleared from 1 million to 600,000 since July.
We're hopeful that it's going to start to fix, and obviously we're doing a lot of work with the state government to try and find other ways to obviously fill our gaps in the workforce as well.
Businesses from every sector say the reinforcements can't come quick enough.
In the hospitality sector, the retail sector, a whole range of places where they're screaming out for staff and they're unavailable at this moment.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The Environment Protection Authority is investigating Monday's scrap metal fire at Recycal's Bridgewater site. The agency says it and others work to minimise the amount of water which discharged into nearby waterways. But there may have been breaches of environmental laws. For the next fortnight, Recycal cannot accept or remove any material at the site. A replica of the first European ship to make landfall in Australia has ventured into Tasmanian waters for an iconic event. The Diavken will join hundreds of other vessels for the first wooden boat festival since 2019.
A maritime masterpiece highlighting what life at sea looked like more than 400 years ago.
Diavken is a replica of the first recorded European vessel to make landfall in Australia in 1606. Which is a Dutch vessel built in Fremantle back in '98.
The Diavken is one of 300 afloat vessels that will berth in Sullivan's Cove for this year's Wooden Boat Festival.
That ranges from massive tall ships down to little sailing dinghies. And on the land, there's also 150 boats. So that's basically the core of the festival.
Staff and volunteers now putting the final touches on the popular event, hoping to make waves after its COVID-imposed hiatus.
We've introduced a range of ticketed events. One of those events are tours of boats from Australian boat builders and designers.
While those events are sold out, there won't be any shortage of family fun, with a full program of displays and food and drink stalls on offer. Around 120,000 people are predicted to pour into Hobart for the festival, with roughly 50% of the crowd coming from interstate.
I'm a wooden boat tragic, so I've got a couple of wooden boats, a Chinese junk that was built for Levi jeans, and I have a World War II tugboat. The 4-day festival starts on Friday with the spectacular parade on the River Derwent. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
24 lucky Tasmanians have shared in a $10 million Oz Lotto prize, but some don't even know it yet. The winning syndicate was formed at the Strawn Supermarket and News Agency and is one of 2 Division 1 entries in last night's $20 million draw. Each member scored just over $424,000. Anyone who purchased a share in a syndicate from Strawn is urged to check their ticket.
In the WNCL, Tasmania and South Australia have come face-to-face again, with the Tigers choosing to bowl first. Starting off strong at Blunston Arena, Sarah Coit made an impression on the Scorpions, taking 4 wickets.
Last ball of the 9th over for Sarah Coit. There's the switch hit straight to the fielder at backward square, the end of Wellington. That hurts the Scorpions. That really hurts them.
Launceston's Courtney Webb was the 3rd wicket to fall for the opposition. A short time ago, Tasmania needed 134 runs from 195 balls to win. Tasmanians are being urged to unite and get behind our only entrant in next month's All-Star Mile Horse Race in Melbourne. The Inevitable has battled form and injury in recent years, but connections say she won't be making up the numbers.
It's a gelding who lacks size, but makes up for it in horsepower.
Oh, the little champ's going to do them. First accused hit the front, but on the outside, the Inevitable dashed past and won brilliantly.
The Inevitable has ripped apart some of Tassie's best over summer, winning 4 from 4.
There's not much of him. He's very fast and very nimble with what he's got, so... And when he's right, he gives everything.
I mean, we're going to be able to talk about him for the rest of our lives. We're never going to get one like him again.
The Rays now focused on a big prize, the horse in the running to start in the All-Star Mile at Moonee Valley next month, which is worth $5 million. His place in the field far from inevitable, though, with entrance determined by a public vote.
Look, he's a little Aussie battler. He's been down a few times. Like I said, he's got back up.
I believe he deserves his chance in it.
A win would be a fairy tale. After winning the Silver Eagle in 2019, the horse has battled form and a horror run of injuries.
He's had bone chips, he's had Pod's disease. Yeah, you name it, he's had a bit of it.
One vote already secured is Richard's daughter. Unable to say his full name at a young age, she nicknamed him Neville. The love hasn't diminished as time goes on.
What do you love most about him?
Because he's fast.
Tasmania has a good record in the mile, Mystic Journey winning the first one in 2019. Connections promising he'll do his all to be the second.
We're not just going there to make the numbers up. We're going there with a real chance of winning. And
please vote for Neville.
To vote, head to the race's website. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, the barriers have been drawn for this year's Hobart Cup. Preparations are well underway for the 149th event, as more than 5,000 spectators are expected to walk through the gates.
Looking really good. We're anticipating a big crowd, and we've got lots of things on, bands and all sorts of stuff happening, and good racing.
Local favourite Swoop Dog, who's won his last 3 races, is fairly placed in Barrier 9. International prospect Spirit Ridge will start from 4, while Glass Warrior, previous winner of the Launceston Cup, drew Barrier 1. All the racing action gets underway this Sunday at Elwick. Well, AFL Tasmania has appointed a new coach, with Jodie Clifford set to drive the Devils Girls Talent League this year. The former Georgetown and Launceston player has been involved with the Devils program as an assistant coach for the past 4 years.
For the Coach Talent League to have full-time female coaches across Australia, I think just shows the AFL's commitment to building the talent pathways in female football across our state. So I'm really excited to be part of it.
The fixture will be released in the coming weeks, with the Devils tipped to play their first game of the season at UTAS Stadium on March 18. Keely Froling has re-signed with the Tornadoes and will return to the helm of the club as captain.
I love playing for the Tawns and I love it down here. It was a really easy decision for me. You know, the club's great. Sarah's been awesome for me, you know, my development on the court, off the court, and I love the team. So it was a really, really simple decision for me.
Pre-season training has already begun, with the condensed NBL 1 competition set to get underway in April. Meanwhile, the forward also provided an update on her brother and former Hobart Chargers player, Harry Froling.
It was a tough time for sure, but you know, he's on the mend now, and the basketball community was great. You know, I had so many messages. I was up there in hospital with him, and his phone, he had to turn it off because it was just dinging. I think he had over 1,000 messages, which was really sweet.
Harry is now recovering at home following an alleged one-punch attack last month. One of our star jack jumpers has proven he's got what it takes, selected as one of the best at last night's Andrew Gaze MVP Awards. Tasmania's Milton Doyle making headway, named in the All-NBL First 5 team.
And finally, from the Tasmania Jack Jumpers, Milton Doyle.
It's an honour being named in the first 5. It's a lot of great competition, great players in this league, and to be amongst some of the best is an honour.
But it was Sydney Kings' Xavier Cooks' night, taking out Most Valuable Player. Also representing the JJs, Sean McDonald picked up 3rd for Most Improved Player, while Rashard Kelly was given a nod for Best 6th Man.
Good evening. Hobart's 16 degrees today, a bit short of Launceston's 24, which was the warmest around the state today. Devonport 22 and Burnie had 21. A cold night for Butler's Gorge overnight, slipping to -1. Smithton in the Islands 23 today, Strawn 22, Friendly Beaches 18, St Helens 17. Butler's Gorge did make up for it later, a top of 20. Some low cloud today. However, it was sunny over the central, west and northern parts of the state. More low cloud under a high as over southern WA. Thunderstorms evident through inland Queensland and the Territory. Severe tropical cyclone Freddie off the west and tropical cyclone Gabrielle off the Queensland coast. Tomorrow the high shifts over the Tasman Sea as a cold front slides up into the picture. The cyclones stay offshore as well to the north and northwest. Winds over our region will start east northeasterly before increasing over Bass Strait and from a southeast direction later over the west coast. Forecast for tomorrow, 23 for Hobart, that's a bit better, a cloudy day. A shower developing for Cygnet though, 23 also. 25 the top for New Norfolk. Launceston 25 with a shower or 2, 21 for Devonport, partly cloudy for Campbelltown, maximum 25 degrees. Burnie showers increasing, 19, 23 for Strawn, a shower 2 for Smithton, 21 the high. And for St Helens, showers increasing, 21. Further south though, cloudy over Swansea and 22, 21 the top for Fingal. Here's the UV, peaking at 9, and that's very high. On Friday, showers over the north and east, extending to remaining districts in the afternoon. A sunny day in the west on Saturday, Strawn 24, partly cloudy elsewhere. And on Hobart Cup Day, partly cloudy and 23 for the races, and fine elsewhere apart from a shower over the upper east. Sunny and warm again for Perth and Adelaide, sunny as well in Melbourne, 27 there. Showers for Canberra and Sydney, a fine 29 in Brisbane. Cloudy and 14 in Hobart. Launceston a bit cloudy as well, currently 20 degrees. Partly cloudy in Devonport and 18. Big things happening this weekend, Kim. We've got plenty of action in Hobart with, of course, the Hobart Cup and, of course, the other race that's on the Monday, the Wooden Weight Festival.
The Wooden Boat Festival, yes, Merv. Thank you. That wraps up your midweek news. As always, thanks for joining us. For now, it's good night.